Hello there everybody, it's Brian here at the North American Guitars UK showroom, and in today's Talking Guitar I'm sat here on the sofa with brand new Luthier to us, becoming a very good friend, the wonderful Mr. Ciaran McNally of McNally Guitars.
Thanks for having me, excited to be here.
It's such a pleasure. I mean, you've come with our first two guitars from you and they are absolutely stunning. We meant to get straight into it, but I think we lost, half an hour, 45 minutes in the other room just geeking out and playing these things. They're absolutely extraordinary.
Thank you very much.
And it's been a great journey so far with you. I mean, so you came in last year to our showroom with two guitars.
Yeah.
And they frankly blew us away.
Yeah, that was really great to hear. There was actually this guitar that I brought in as well, so that one's stayed with us, and one of your first guitars as well. The other one was similar to this too. It was a parlour model, but it was different wood specifications. And if I remember correctly, that shipped out the very next day, so it was tight to the wire that you got to try it actually, so that was good. Yeah.
But it was a great showcase of the variation, and so are these two. And what's lovely is since then, we've stayed in communication, of course, super keen to get some in for ourselves. And it's been really exciting watching your journey, and you even came here, just sort of kept us up to date, brought in some of the stuff you're working on, and it's been really cool just seeing this whole thing grow even before we had any guitars in the showroom.
Yeah.
And it's been a lovely relationship, really looking forward to seeing where it goes. But I suppose first and foremost, before we really take a deep dive into these, it'd be great to just have an introduction to your history in guitar building, what got you into it and how you're feeling about it now down the line.
Yeah, sure. So I started playing guitar when I was 14, I think, and many teenage guitar players, I took a notion that I might be able to make one, and I started to buy kits and put the kits together, and that kind of developed over time into deciding, well, I shouldn't really buy these parts anymore, I should try and make them. So there was a few quite terrible attempts at that. At the same time, I heard that there was a course in Belfast, a guitar making course, an evening course. So while I was still in school, I was going there in the evenings and making my first acoustic guitar. And that was a copy of a Triple O, which, again, it was okay. I was really pleased with it at the time, but I think when you look back, you realise how much things develop. That was also the time I might have realised this might be something that I can actually do. This might be something that people do for a living, and someone's got to do it, haven't they? Then I discovered there was a course at London Metropolitan University, which was formerly College of Furniture, which many Luthiers have gone to over the years. So I moved there when I was 18 and studied guitar making. And in between the summers of that course, I would go back to Belfast and make more guitars there as well. And then I moved back to Belfast permanently and sort of set up a little bit in that school in Belfast and continued to learn. And I think I made 13 guitars in that year.
Oh, wow.
Which was the real kickstart of it all, I guess.
That's a strong output.
Then shortly after that, I met George Loudon and conversed with him a bit, and then ended up going to work at Loudon Guitars for nearly 3 years, which was a very positive experience, being able to work on thousands and thousands of high-end instruments, very, very well regarded during that time period as well. I took a bit of a detour out of guitar making and went and roasted coffee for 3 years, which was a bit of a detour, but really enjoyable actually. But the whole time, through any employment I've had, and Loudon and the coffee place, I've always made my own guitars in my spare time, and I've never really been able to get away from it. It's always been an itch that needs to be scratched in some ways. So while I was still with the coffee company then, I was exhibiting in Berlin at the Holy Grail Guitar Show.
Right.
And I became friendly with Alistair Akin of Akin Guitars here in England as well. And we got to talking about his plans for his company and how I might be able to help. And that was when I then moved over here to Canterbury, which this is now my 3rd year here.
Amazing.
And I've still been making my own guitars during that time, and they've just always developed, and it is a slow process really for guitar makers to develop their own style, and just when you think you have it, you decide that something needs to change and something needs to get better. And I think I'm starting to come to terms with the fact that might never go away. It will always change and develop. So yeah, I'm still here and still making these guitars. I've added a few new models recently, a few new options to my guitars, and plans for the future. It's not a secret or anything, but this will be my last year with Akin Guitars, and as of next year, the plan is to only make my own guitars as well, which just so happens to be when I turn 30 at the end of this year. So it felt a bit kind of well timed that this should probably happen now. But also, I mean, that would put it at 14 years since I made my first acoustic, and I'm on starting number 50 at the moment of my own as well. But it really has taken that long to feel comfortable with the whole thing, and to have a confidence to say, I think I'm ready to do this full time with my name on it. And I think not only in the past maybe I wasn't ready to do that, but the guitars weren't ready, and now I feel like the guitars are ready for that as well. So and hopefully North American guitar is part of that new phase as well.
I mean, we're very proud to be part of the journey, and these just cement that. We're so excited to get these out there and in front of people. And I mean, from what I heard, even with your time at Akin, you're still making like 12 guitars a year, around that kind of number, which I made 12 last year, and I'm making 14 this year as well. Wow. So, but it's all consuming for me. I don't really have any hobbies, but that's not a complaint. I made my hobby my job, and you know, as people say, there's no part of me that dreads getting up for work in the morning. I absolutely love every minute of it, and I love the whole flow of a project of a guitar from the very start to the end, and every stage is exciting, so there's never a dull moment either. So I do work a lot of hours right now, but I have no complaints. And I mean, that passion really comes through in these things. And it's funny earlier that you were talking about identity, because just scrolling through, I mean, since we first met, we've been so engaged in watching what you're doing and all these things that you're putting out. And it's that balance of having an identity with your builds, but also having that freedom to cater to what someone wants as a bespoke build, because you've got a huge range of options.
I do, and that's part of the development is finding options that people can add to the guitar that doesn't change the vibes. You know, some people ask for things and I just have to say, sorry, no, that's not my kind of guitar. I'm sure someone else could make that for you. But I think I do have a range of options now that people can choose a certain aesthetic, a certain wood, a certain neck type. There's logo options, rosette options. But it doesn't change the identity of the guitar. I think unmistakably these are two very different guitars here as well, but hopefully they still have a theme that you can see they were made by the same person.
Absolutely.
I mean, just on these two guitars, how different they are. This is an OM, that's a parlor, that's a short scale, that's a long scale. That's got the original Celtic Knot Pearl logo. This has the new full script gold foil logo. This is a soft cedar top.
Let's pull this down. Start with this one and just get into it, because, I mean, straight off the bat, what can you even say? It's absolutely stunning.
It's quite a nice bit of Cocobolo. The sides in particular, I don't know if you
that's one thing we were talking about. This will show up better on photos, but it might involve some sort of extreme zoom situation. But the matching,
it's got quite a nice grain that flows through the book match there as well. The cedar top as well is particularly high quality, and I find cedar is quite good for a smaller guitar like this. It takes the edge off quite a bit, and this one is sounding pretty lively for having been played of all about an hour, I think.
Well, we definitely been trying to add to that today, and I think further still as the day continues, this is
so this is what I would call the parlor model, which is a 12 fret small body short scale. The other really popular option with this is a slotted headstock, which takes it into that kind of really parlor vintage vibe. Interestingly, the S model I offer, the small body, is the same shape as this, but it's a 14 fret join.
Okay. And is that a longer scale length as well? Or?
No, it's still a short scale as well, but you could have that with the long scale as well. I've been thinking about that recently, actually.
Wonderful. And is your short scale the 24.75?
24.9.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, just exquisite. And I mean, I was when we're fortunate enough to have the wonderful Ben Smith here today, which I'm sure will come across in the demos that we managed to get in later on. But Ben started playing this, and the moment he tuned that low E down to a D and started thumping away, you could feel it in the floor.
Yeah.
It's just amazing what that puts out for the body size. But it still sounds like all the things that you love from a parlor-sized guitar.
Yeah, and it's still together. It's still, I think what I've really tried to develop on my guitars over the past few years as well is I'm not really trying to push the boundaries of tone in some ways, like a lot of modern Luthier is. I'm not trying to always say more is more. I want more sustain, I want more bass, I want tone, I want balance, and I want definition. And one of the key things for me is that the bass is always clearly defined. That gives you versatility to play across different styles, because in my playing I play with a pick and I strum and I play a bit of blues and stuff like that, so fingerstyle guitars tend to have too much going on sometimes for that, and I think my guitars are perhaps a little bit more restrained in those qualities, but I think you get a good versatility, possibly as a slight trade-off of those things too.
And then moving on to the other example with, again, some really just fantastic points.
So this is an OM with quite a nice Sitka spruce top, but also Hawaiian koa back and sides. Again, quite a stunning piece. The sides in particular, I don't know if you can see, are incredibly highly figured. So this will be a full scale. You can see also this one has a bevel, in this case walnut rosette. That's a variation option on this rosette as well. And then fully mitered walnut trim on the back as well. These two guitars are gloss finished as well, which is something that I've started offering recently, but the back of the neck is always satin, as you can see, so it's quite nice in the hand. But full satin is an option as well. So again, I think it's a really good pair to pick off with, because they're really so different in many ways too, and they do sound quite different, but still have a style. I think that you can tell they're from the same brand, but they're really almost polar opposites that you can get within that brand. Yeah.
And the other thing that you were talking about that's very dear to you is affordability and getting them in the hands of players, because it's quite incredible.
It is. So, I mean, my base price at the moment is 2,650 sterling, which I think is quite low for a Luthier made guitar. That will go up undoubtedly, probably at the end of this year. But it is important to me that the guitars are accessible to players, and that if someone really wants a very deluxe instrument, you can get that. You can add all of these options and upgrade the woods, and you could end up £7,000, £8,000, quite easily. But for someone who wants a really well-made, good sounding guitar, and they're maybe a touring musician and they're not so concerned with those things, they can still access it at a price point that would be similar to a big factory made guitar as well. So staying around those kind of prices it's definitely something I want to try and maintain going forward as much as possible.
Well, it's an amazing thing you're doing, and we're so impressed with these two guitars. I mean, we can't wait to get them photographed, put up in people's hands, and even later today just demoing them. It's going to be an absolute joy.
Very excited.
Well, the future's looking great.
We
are all so proud to have you involved, have you on board, and have these guitars here on our walls. And I'm really, really excited to see where it goes.
Great, thanks very much.
Fantastic. So for more information on the finest Luthier built instruments, please do subscribe to this channel. If you've got any questions, want to know any more about McNally guitars and Ciaran, please don't hesitate to get in touch.